Hello, WPF Attack. You're quite good at turning me on. How's that? Does that work?
That sounds perfect.
A nice Simpsons quote. Hello. My name's Keith, and with me today is what's your name, sir? Even because
Malcolm24.
Yeah. Malcolm.
Hello.
Yeah. Today we're doing the WPF Attack Division player rankings, which I did fuck all work for, and who is it that helped actually put these rankings together, Mr. Malcolm?
It was a mix between myself, Gradual, Pluto supporter, and zimz, all from Attactive as well.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So
on them.
In comedic fashion, since we're genre div while drafting, we also got to have Big Johns while making the PRs.
Look, at least you'll get a PRs. I feel bad for PB div.
Oh no.
Yeah, okay, so, this season, I'm assuming everyone who's gonna watch this will know this, but this season, WPF allowed a bunch of sort of unbanned, so there was an MSN to see, but there was also just a bunch of stuff with, you know, specific, like, what would you call this, like, you know, specific, like, moveset band, like, complex bands. So there was stuff
we
like,
had a bunch of...
Yeah, like Ash Greninja with no spikes, Cinderace with no U-turn, like Libera Cinderace with no U-turn, that sort of thing. I think Kyurem with no, like, speed boosting moves. So the teams...
Yeah, definitely spike things up this season.
Spice it up, but also will spike up the general power level of teams, and yeah. So I think, should we just, disclaimer.
And let's go.
Well, first of all, the disclaimer. This list is very opinionated, but it's definitely objective. And
It's 100%
a successful team. If you got low, you should just drop the league and give up now.
Absolutely.
I was kidding. Yeah, and this list is not based on the player's skill, but the team in general. And it's very likely that teams that are, you know, 16th will do well. The last league I won, my PR team was 14th. So it's just like, whatever, these don't matter. They're fun.
Oh yeah, your ranking obviously has no matter on how well you'll perform.
No. But I think people know that at this point, so let's move on to number 16. Mr. Jarkin. Alrighty, so why is Mr. Jarkin here?
So starting off, we've got the big combo in this team, I'd say, would be Garchomp and Megalakazam. In its own right, it's definitely very strong. They're probably two of the best physical attackers all around. They're super versatile, and they can accomplish like a bunch of different roles, like sweepers, utility, a bunch of different stuff. In my opinion, the team struggles a bit to support it some way. Speed tiers specifically are kind of wacky on this team. You've got Garchomp and Regieleki as the only two real mons over like 80-ish speed.
Would you really call Regieleki a real mon? Because I don't know if I'd call it a real mon on this team. Because I feel like you want... This team struggles to punish ground types with spikers or even an offensive water. So it's like the water and their grass. I like the Slumber and Tangrowth combo, but they're both like Slumber, Tangrowth, and Blissey are a nice defensive trio. But you know that they're not passive, but they're not exactly offensive beasts. So this team might have problems with actually beating the ground types to unlock Regieleki. And without Regieleki, their special attack offense is really just like offensive Slowbro and then Togekiss. But you don't want to run offensive Slowbro and Togekiss every time.
There is also a slight Trick Room aspect with Slowbro and Alolan Marowak.
Yeah, and that's neat.
Yeah, but it's like a slight mode, and I don't think there's that many other Pokemon that can abuse Trick Room as well.
I think in a normal, like, if this was just a normal season, this would be a pretty strong team. But I think the fact is that, like, teams are a lot stronger, everyone's first 2 picks are a lot more synergistic sort of thing, that...
Yeah, but
it doesn't push the
power level has definitely gone up.
Yeah, so it doesn't really push the needle as much as it probably should and could. Yeah. Anything else you want to say there?
So yeah, no, I just wanna say that the defensive core is definitely great here.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
On the offensive end, the speed tiers are a little bit lacking, and yeah, that's pretty much it. There's also lacks like really good special attackers. Like obviously you have Regieleki, but that just crumbles to any ground type. And you've got Togekiss, I guess.
Yeah.
But again, it feels like Togekiss has a bunch of different roles it wants to try.
I mean,
like defensive or maybe like just scarfed
I do
or setup.
think with Blissey, Slipper, and Tangrowth, they can be more offensive more often than not. But it's still
true.
Like it's not exactly the fastest Pokemon, and it's also just not the strong. Like it'll probably want to be Scarf a lot as well. Actually, that is a thing.
Yeah, you don't want to have to rely on air slash clinches with
Scarf. It's also
Scarf.
one of the 2 defog. I guess there's Regieleki with Rapid Spin that probably runs Rapid Spin most times, so
It's true.
it doesn't need to run defog, I suppose.
But I think that's pretty much it in general.
Ready.
Alright, now we can move on to number 15.
Mr. Daniel, whose team would be way higher if he had more frogs. I actually do think
Absolutely.
this team should be a little high, like a bit higher than it is. I'll say that much.
Not enough starters, in my opinion.
Well, I only just noticed that. Holy shit! It's oh, why?
He's also got the monkey combo.
Oh, he's got the monkey combo. He's got 2. Like I'm gonna count Swampert as a frog, so that's 2 frog starters, 2 monkey starters. Why is this team so low?
Absolutely, I agree.
I actually definitely think this team should be a little higher because, like, it's dumb hyper offense, but it's dumb hyper offense. Like, you can't bring it to every matchup, which is why, you know, I think it wouldn't be too much higher. But I still think it's just gonna run over a fair few teams. Like, it just will.
Yeah.
It's just how these teams work.
Few notes I had written down. Its defensive mons don't really have any recovery. Swampert here is good though because obviously it can flip turn around and act as momentum. Another thing is it kind of has a fighting weakness and relies on Garbodor and Ribombee to patch that, which aren't exactly best options against it.
So what you're saying is it relies on Garbodor to patch it, because relying on it defensively is... Yeah.
Like a lot of like Scarf fightings might be able to have a pretty easy time against this.
Yeah, well, they'll probably get revenged by Rillaboom though, which is, you know...
True.
Like, Rillaboom is a very good defensive tool against, like, Scarf weak teams. Because, you know, it's just like unless they're Scarf resistant, they'll probably get revenged.
Monkey do have the priority
yeah.
move.
I don't know, I like this team. I like the fact that there's, like, sticky webs to support the stuff. What I really don't like about it is the removal. Because it's Ribombee.
Yeah, that's true.
Which isn't getting 3 turns. Rotom Frost, which is more of a defensive Pokemon, and Mega Aerodactyl, which is the main thing you kind of want to remove rocks for on this team. And you've got, like, spikes, toxic spikes, and sticky webs, but you don't have a spinner either, so it's just kind of awkward.
This team's also it's going to want to pivot around a lot with U-turn.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
3 main sweepers ignoring Aerodactyl. Greninja, Rillaboom, and Infernape are all going to be U-turn. Oh, also, with Ash Greninja, it's got a Complex ban this season.
Yeah, so you can't have spikes on it.
So you're not able to have toxic spikes or spikes on it. But you are able to run...
Spikes?
Yeah, both of them.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. But you're able to run Torrent Gran and run those moves on it instead.
There might be some matchups where that happens, but it's probably rare. I think
Yeah, Battlebond's probably going to be more useful most of the time.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Ash Greninja goes, because some people do think it should be legalized, but like, it's just
I'm excited to see it.
steamrolly Pokemon, yeah. Yeah, that's just with, like, because they've got a lot of pivoting, like Crebombi, Rotom Frost as well as Swampert, so like, as well as Swampert, Infernape, Rillaboom, Greninja, that's 6, like, actually decent, well, you know, Pokemon that are decent at U-turning and pivoting and stuff. And the hazard control is really bad, and this is an offensive team, so I don't know how often they want to run boots. I think they want to have their items boosting their damage, so it's going to be, you know, that's a bit of a thing.
Also let's not forget the Primal Kyogre right there. With HP Fire, it's able to sweep through majority of teams.
Yeah, it's quite scary. Should be ashamed for letting Daniel draft the Primal Kyogre. At least make him draft the Groudon. Come on.
True.
Next or?
Alrighty, yeah, I think that's most of our thoughts on it.
Yeah, so I think the team should be higher. It's decent, but hey. We have.
Ooh, alright.
Yeah, we have got Cats at 14.
Seeing the first 2 months here is just making me not excited to play this.
Oh my god, yeah, this team's gonna get wins just by being the most annoying. So what's Shaman Sky's complex pin?
It's not able to run Seed Flare.
Okay, so okay.
So it's somewhat manageable, but it's still gonna be.
It's just gonna flinch you with
flinching you into oblivion.
Yeah. Does it have like Energy Ball or something? I'm imagining it does.
Yeah, probably.
So it still has
sure
like a Grass Stab at the very least.
It also gets Earth Power, which means even if you have Steel types, they won't do a thing to it.
Yeah. What did? I don't even remember. Okay. Yeah, it's a fine team, I suppose. I have very little to say about this.
I think one thing I'm noticing about it is it slightly lacks pivoting options.
Yeah, it's only
you're mainly
Electros and Jirachi.
You're mainly relying on like Electros, Jirachi, and maybe Vespiquen.
I don't think you'll bring Vespiquen to many matches.
Yeah.
I think if you bring it to one, that's an achievement.
But like it does have solid mons. You've got like here in the notable mons, you've got like Tabu Fini, which is a great bring, super versatile. Yeah. Have like a bunch of different roles. Jirachi as well can basically be anything.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a bit of a speed drop. Like, because I think Fini doesn't want to run much speed on this team because it's the main.
That's true.
Defogger. So like, it's like after Jirachi, there's really not. It's kind of a slow team. Like, as in, like, below Jirachi, you really don't want to run speed on much. Which means that Jirachi, I think, is a lot of the time probably going to have to be... I guess you can run Offensive Arcanine.
Yeah, I mean, you got Fast Arcanine too, but usually they're going to want to be, like, more bulky.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's a bit of an issue.
I mean, it does have a bunch of fast mounts, which I think kind of deals with it.
Yeah, well, Trachean is really good. Like, I like Shaman Sky and Trachean, and then... Like, they're just gonna win some games by flinching everyone forever.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it's got good hazards. It's got a bunch of good rock users. Frostlass is a pretty good lead with spikes, taunt, and Destiny Bond and whatnot.
Yeah, I just like
the removal is a bit weird.
It's yeah, it's Fini is the only defog, and then you've got Donphan's Rapid Spin.
Fini and Donphan are your most reliable ones.
Like Dramper, I don't think you really wanted to run defog often.
Spican maybe.
Yeah. And then Vespiquen, I'll be surprised if it comes to one game. I am not high on that Pocket Monster. Yeah.
Alright, that's most of my thoughts on it.
Yeah, sorry, I did not have many thoughts on this team at all. It's just like, I don't know why.
I think the game plan is pretty like apparent.
Yeah. Okay, number 13, I suppose. Mr. Linus. Or I don't know their gender. I shouldn't gender them, sorry. Linus.
So I already the power is starting to creep up immediately.
Yeah.
You've got like Megaglade, Lando, Aegislash.
Yeah.
Nihilego.
Yeah. I looked at like, if you just look at the first couple, it's like, damn, this team's really strong. But I feel like it's sorta, kinda drops off a tiny bit after that. Like, I think the problem is, I don't think Mega Galad is a great poke. Is someone here?
I think
It's
Pluto
me,
just joined.
Oh.
I did, yeah.
Hello. Welcome.
Hello. How's it going?
Pretty good. How are you?
Great.
We're now at 13 in the record, by the way, on the draft, so if you want to jump in and join. Yeah, I think max speed Mega Galad's actually pretty bad. Like, it's really bad, and there's an issue of just... It's got one special attacker in this whole frickin' team, and...
I mean, Aegislash.
Aegislash,
yeah, sure, actually, that's fair, sorry.
Result can also serve as one, even if it is known for special sport beak.
I think Arctisol. Arctisol's got like 90 Spatak, it's really not that strong. Like, the Pokemon with the third highest Spatak on this team is Landorus.
I mean, people run, like, Draco Meteor on, like, Dracozolt, and it's essentially the same concept. Obviously, it does prefer to run Flush Brush.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. It just
I suppose.
As an Arctozolt enthusiast, I rate the pickup. The team just seems iffy around it, though. Abomasnow does get Aurora Veil, though.
Yeah.
Which is pretty interesting for, like, Megaglade and Haxorus.
Yeah. Every Snowstorm, I think, has Veil.
Mandibuzz. It has Mandibuzz, Alomomola, Comfy, and Nihilego, which is, like, on paper, you look at their stats and it's like, oh, Alomomola's like Fizz Def, Nihilego's Special Def, but it can't heal, and then Comfy's like artificial special defense because it's got like Calm Mind, and it can really spiral out of control with that if it's given the right matchup.
Yeah.
And even beyond that, Mandibuzz is fantastic at tanking physical and special hits.
Yeah.
Plus, its defensive typing is great, especially in context of stuff like Aegislash.
Well, its defensive typing is really holding this team together because it's the main switch into a lot of different, like, types, specifically Ghost, but also, like...
That's the big thing.
Yeah, like, and then I think there's also, like, I think the problem is that Mandibuzz and Aegislash are defensively, like, I think there's, like, one or two types each that they're the only resist for, or, like, the only really good resist for, and it's, like... Mandibuzz can kind of do that, but I don't think you want Aegislash to be used as like your check to. I think it's Rock type. I think that's the the only Rock like Pokemon that can switch into a like Stone Edge. But it's like this.
You also look at how many. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no.
You look at how many knockoffs Mandibuzz is going to be switching into, because like Comfy I guess can, and like Mega Galade won't lose an item, but it still will take a hit. It's gonna be switching into a lot, and it's gonna lose its boots. So. The other defoggers, the other removals are Landorus Therian, which won't run defog, and then Comfy, which, like, it doesn't want to fit defog if it can avoid it.
Yeah.
So losing those boots and not really having good removal beyond that will mean that it's taking 25 on coming in for free, meaning it's going to get whittled down really fast, even for Mandibuzz.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just, it's holding the team together, and it's not something it can, like, if you can get around that Mandibuzz, this team's going to be, I think, not that hard to just pick apart defensively, especially since, as I said, Mega Galad's the fastest Pokemon, and that's not what you want a Mega Galad, like, you want a Pokemon faster than Mega Galad usually, and you also don't want Mega Galad to take any hits, like, it can come in on knockoff, but, like...
Only so many times.
Yeah, it can, you know, it is technically a Stone Edge resist, but...
Its defense is like 70 or something,
its
right?
defense isn't bad, it's just, its HP is like 65. But,
Special defense is surprisingly insane. I think it's like 110 or something.
Yeah, because... Yeah,
okay, so Gallade Mega defense is 95, special defense is 115, and HP is 68.
Yeah, it's not great.
So... Yeah,
like, it's not frail, but it's not loving being a defensive chick too much.
It's not regular Gallade, that's for sure. But it's also essentially regular Gallade.
Yeah.
Also, is this being recorded, or are we just in a call?
Well, it's being recorded.
Right. Yeah, we're recording it.
Hello, world. I just wanted to check in and make sure before I made a fool out of myself.
No. You think I'm not going to do this multiple times? Yeah, the next one, I suppose.
Alrighty.
Number 12, Charlie.
Ooh.
This team, I'm upset.
So
I don't like the first two ones at all. I'm very upset.
I love Deoxys
one
speed.
thing I pointed out.
I hate it.
I love Deoxys speed personally.
Oh.
It's a good one. Personally, I think it's an interesting choice to synergize the two, because they're both like obviously fast, strong mons, right?
Yeah.
And it feels like they kind of like clash rules a little bit.
I mean, I think Dio Speed, a lot of the time, what you're gonna run Dio Speed as like a sort of taunt, like setup Pokemon, like clicks taunt on a block.
Oh, like hazards, yeah.
Toxic, or just like it taunts on a like thing, then clicks nasty plot, and then with like 2 attacks, kind of hits really hard. But I feel like it just doesn't. It's on paper, I feel like it's a lot better than it is in the actual games. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not
like to hit hard. It kind of relies on like absolute plot life orb.
Yeah. It's just got it's got really high speed and a bunch of really middling stats. I don't love it. I like the rest of the Pokemon more or less. I'm not the biggest fan of Registeel and Florges, but they work together. I think this is just a functional team. There's no major issues. Speed gap between Lycanroc and Rotom Heat's kind of lame, but it's like whatever. But then it just I don't think the power level's Zoroark and Rotom Heat, but I just don't think the power level's that high.
I think it's got strong breakers.
Yeah.
Like if a team is able to wall Nidoking and Lycanroc somehow, it's probably gonna have issues.
I mean, it's
the breakers also can't switch in. Deoxys Speed, Megalopony, Nidoking to an extent, Lycanroc, Zoroark. None of them can take neutral hits.
Yeah.
Well.
I don't think it's the fact of walling them, it's the fact of killing them is their problem.
True.
It's not necessarily the walling potential, it's the fact that it's going to come in, take half, and then hopefully kill, and maybe not.
Yeah. Then, so then... And you've got, defense Pokemon like Registeel and Florges, but I feel like they're not... I don't think you want to bring... I feel like you just... I don't know, you've got Rotom Heat, and Rotom Heat's very good for this team. So, it all functions, it all works together, but I just think the power level, when you compare it to, all the other drafts, is a little low. This was the 18th, the 16th.
Obviously the team has, the Deoxys speed and Lopunny right there, but it's also lacking, any good Scarfers. So, you don't want to have to rely on, Rotom Heat or, Scarf Nidoking to revenge some stuff without using Deoxys.
Yeah. Because Rotom Heat is really needed defensively, I feel.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know. It functions.
I think the defense is decent, though.
I honestly don't think there's a single bad team in attack. I'm gonna be real.
No,
oh no, absolutely not.
We said at the power level rose up. I think we were talking about it even at number 1. I think we even said it number 1, in a regular one. His would be really good. Sorry, when we were talking about 16th, his would be really good in a regular draft, but it's just the power level's not cutting it. And yeah. And it's a decent team, it functions, but I just feel like the individual one's strength isn't high enough. But I don't know, what do y'all think?
I think putting it at 12 works, because I personally like a lot of the mons on this, Delmise, Deoxys Speed, Rotom Heat. Rotom Heat was one of the first mons I ever drafted, and it did me wonders in my first league. I really like this team, but it's the fact that it has so many Pokemon that simultaneously don't really support each other and need support, like Zoroark and Lycanroc. They have the speed, they like to set up before trying to break, and on that setup turn they're going to get switched in on by something that can either one-shot them or wall them out, and that's going to cause them problems in practice. Rotom Heat's great because it's a good pivot, but like Mega Lopunny, Rotom Heat, Zoroark, and that's the pivoting. There's not a lot of momentum gaining here. It's just using whatever momentum you have well. And gaining that momentum is going to cause problems here.
That's
agreed.
Really well, should we move on?
Alright,
Sure.
we can move on to 11.
Okay, Red.
Oh, this is already getting crazy strong.
Yeah, yeah, Jesus. Okay.
So Megalakazam here isn't able to run special attack boosting moves, so no Nasty Plot, no Calm Mind, or no Charge Beam.
I was about to ask if it was allowed to have Charge Beam.
If only. Imagine
Like,
having
you can run like Psych Up with like, I don't know, Flatter or something.
Oh boy.
That's so silly.
Is Flutter 1 Spatak or 2 Spatak raises?
I'm pretty sure it's... Actually, no, I think it's 1.
I don't think, and I'm going to need to look into this because I don't know right off the top of my head. I don't think anything on his team learns Flatter.
Oh, well that's...
Probably not. It was no idea.
That's one gimmick out the window.
So, I'll say with this team, it's a team with Kartana as its steel, and that has issues, but I think it covers for them pretty well. And like Zapdos is the only defogger, but it's fine. It's just like Kartana and like Megalakazam are gonna apply so much offensive pressure on both sides. All that's gonna matter is can they switch into the move, like because they'll claim a kill and something will claim and show or revenge them. I think it'll come down
Imagine
to...
Alakazam switching in.
Yeah, well, exactly.
It lacks a little bit of pivoting because you're mainly going to rely on like Zapdos or like
Hydreigon.
Charjabug.
Well, no, there's Hydreigon and there's Primarina and
Hydreigon, true.
So like they're...
Oh yeah, you're forgetting Pluto into the thing.
Yeah, those are decent pivots, and yeah.
I just think Cardano and Megalakazam is going to be really rough because they're just super strong and fast special breaker and super strong and fast physical attacker.
Yeah, and
I think this seems like a 50-50, where either you have momentum and you lay into your opponent, or they have some sets that counter your top mons and you kind of crumple. It's like Kartana, really.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, I think I think this team will do pretty well, honestly, but this is only number 11, so apparently it won't. I like it a lot.
One huge thing to point out is Charjabug, and that's just bulky and webs. And having Charjabug come in on something, like as long as it's not super effective, that thing eats hits like I've never seen. And then it can just volt switch out and it'll always go second.
Yeah.
Unless it's
really good.
Bolting into a ground type. So getting momentum isn't necessarily impossible for this team.
Yeah.
And having webs up will help them keep that momentum a lot.
Yeah. Or like webs with choice banded, like granted webs are a lot worse in this gen, but webs with choice banded Kartana seems really strong.
Or just flat out SD, like with webs up could probably sweep most teams.
Yeah. Kartana's like I was down on it, but then I've like been seeing people use it, and it's like, holy shit, this is just so good.
Kartana is so stupid. I hate it so much. I did mono grass, or I did mono water in a league, and I fought mono grass, and I just looked at the matchup and went, I just die here. I can't win this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think Kartana is silly.
Yeah, it's stupid. So hopefully it does well.
Oh yeah,
I think Galarian Slowking also helps the team a lot defensively.
Yeah, I actually think that they covered defensively. Like they defensively covered really well what they needed, sort of thing.
Oh yeah,
Galar Hydreigon is honestly mad good.
Yeah,
like,
it's a pretty good team. But
I'm super excited to see this one play.
Yeah,
definitely.
Shall we move on?
Yeah, sure. Let's go.
Alrighty, number 10, we've got Joewood.
Oh boy. Even this is still crazy strong.
Yeah.
So Cinderace here, it's a Libero, but it can't run U-turn.
Yeah.
If it wants, it can run If it wants, it can run Blaze and run U-turn then.
Well, it can have Baton Pass as well.
Oh, true. Yeah, I forgot to get that.
It does have Baton Pass.
Didn't we have this exact conversation while discussing this?
I thought I'd bring it up.
Literally the baton pass and then Malcolm going, oh, wait.
It really happened twice in a row.
So I think the thing with this is this team is effectively a 7-mon draft. I think... Sorry, 8-mon draft.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like Vigoroth and Bulgar, I don't think they're coming to many games, so you have to consider that with this team.
I think maybe we can, like, fill a niche for, like, a matchup or two, but
yeah,
it's definitely taking us a, like, backseat to Rotom Skarmory in whatever role it wants to fill.
So,
Clap too.
Yeah.
Defensively, at least.
I'm a big fan of Libero Cinderace. I used it the one season in WPF when it was legal, and it was just stupid. It's obviously a fair bit worse without U-turn allowing it to be ridiculous. Without, U-turn allowing, like, the bulky water to take, like, freaking 40% from the U-turn. But I still think it'll be very good. It's just, like, you put a choice band on it, and it's actually very hard to switch into, because getting stab on everything is stupid. And it's got just enough coverage to hit stuff. Like, it'll like, pretty reliably, at worst, like, even Feeny, it'll 3-hit KO sort of thing, like with Iron Head or something like that. So it's actually...
Even then, like, it's got really good coverage that hits a lot of everything, honestly.
Yeah, so it's less of a pivot and more of just a breaker, and that's, I think, how it's going to function on this team, because it is the main physical offense bringer as well as Megalakazam.
I love court change, especially on a team like this, because if your opponent has webs and wants to bring webs, and honestly thinks webs is like free and forgets about court change for whatever reason, you court change those webs, Mega Garchomp kills an entire team for free.
Yeah. Mega Garchomp with Scale Shot is so good.
Yeah, plus you have Tyranitar for Sand. So if this thing can get the ball rolling, this team will just 6-0. If you can, like, Sticky Web, Sand, Garchomp. It's unfortunate that it doesn't have webs of its own, but you can get around it. And having a defensive core in, like, Skarmory, Clefable, and Mega Garchomp, honestly, that's Steel, Fairy, Dragon. Those are 3 great types.
Yeah.
And Garchomp can't heal, but it's bulky enough to, come in. That's why it's so many points.
And, worst case scenario, you can wish, like, if you need it to come in a lot in the matchup, you can wish support it with Clefable.
Oh, yeah.
Clefable is that. It's a little low on actual pivots, because I don't think Baton Pass Cinderace is coming that often, so it's only Teleport Clefable, which is excellent. And then Rotom.
I mean, Slowking's also there.
Oh yeah, and Slowking. Why do I not have that in my notes? I'm an idiot. Okay, yeah, dual Teleport makes that way better, holy shit.
Oh yeah, no, Future Side King supports...
And Volt Switch Emolga, and U-turn on Emolga.
Yeah, but I don't think Emolga...
Future Port King helps Cinderace a whole ton.
Yeah. Tito's...
What switches in the...
Tito's nearly Ghost Check,
yeah, go ahead.
but that's fine.
I mean, Tyranitar is there, but, like, it crumbles, like, by a Focus Blast.
Yeah, like, so that might be an issue, like a Ghost with a strong Focus Blast, if it hits it twice, might be a bit of a problem, but hey.
I mean, Eevee, like, Vigoroth can always come.
It'll, like, in the Spectria matchup, it'll fucking have to, and I'm not kidding, because Spectria is gonna double kick Tyranitar, and Tyranitar will die.
Spectre, not a good mon, but definitely one that forces prep, because if you don't prep for it at all, it blows through you, and if you do prep for it, then your team is slightly worse off for everything else.
Having said that, they do have one of the best mons, ghost mons in the format anyway, so it's fine. Like, if they had to actually face a Gengar, I'd be way more worried for them.
They have Slowking, which is like the best way to get Gengar on the field in the world.
It's a pretty solid team.
Oh yeah, I really like it. This is only number 10.
Speaking of...
These teams are so crazy.
Speaking of crazy teams, number 9 with Pluto.
Hey, who's that guy?
Yeah, so... you know, why don't you talk about your team for a bit?
Okay, so I'm the kind of player who plans out my entire draft from, like, the get-go, and I happen to be a wheel in this draft, which is insane luck. So I've always wanted to use Zamazenta Crown, so I sort of built my team around that. Unfortunately, my original draft plan I had to kind of throw out the window after I got, like, a couple things that obviously were getting back to me, but I had to sort of plan from there. I didn't get Zapdos, didn't get Latios. So I kind of got Zygarde, Azelf as sort of two mons that function similar to how I planned Latios to. And by the time it got back to me, I actually still had Zeraora available, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And while that does give me a ground weakness, I can patch that up with Moltres. So I sort of just added a bunch of immunities to ground to patch up my Zamazenta Zeraora issue there. And I wanted regular Blastoise, but that wasn't available. And my other option for a water-type spinner was Starmie, and I wanted bulk, so I went with Mega Blastoise. I feel like my team wishes it had more hazards, which is a sort of running theme with me as a player. But I've already... luckily, the PRs are coming out mad late, and I already finished my week 1 game, and I think I can definitely do well with the team that I have. It's just a matter of having prep that helps me do that.
Yeah.
And I think that's just going to take some time on my end.
So I think it's Zamazenta Crown pretty recently. It was in Trick House, Ghastly, and I made playoffs with it. It's a really strong Pokemon. It's going to beat a lot of matchups, but I do think there is something that Zamazenta really likes, and that's having a good Cleric. And you got one, you got a Cleric. I'm not going to say it's good.
Wigglytuff's right there.
I think
it's really loves to wish for it.
Yeah, I'd be a lot higher on this team if it had like a, you know, like a much better Cleric, sort of like a much better Wisher and like you know, like a Aromatherapy Pokemon. Because a lot of the times Zamazenta does eventually get like status or low health, and you want it, you know, you want it to come in, be able to come in a few more times. So I think that's probably the main issue I have with your team. But other than that, it supports it really fucking well. It's got great speed control with Galar and Zeraora. The rock issue is a bit, as you said, it's got strong special attackers and Blastoise and Moltres if it needs to, and Azelf. Yeah, so it's a I think it's a really good team, but I think it would be.
It looks pretty great here.
Yeah, I would have if you had that Wigglytuff was a pretty good like fairy type Cleric. Not just a fairy type Cleric that isn't very good. I would really, really strongly petition this team to be a lot higher.
To be fair, it is the ultimate cult counter.
It is.
It is pretty great.
You know, the sad thing is, like, you say it is, but you won't even bring it to the Dragonbolt matchup because it'll only beat Dragonbolt and lose to everything. And I can say that because 2 weeks ago I had a Dragonbolt matchup where I had Wigglytuff and I didn't bring it. Because it lost to everything that wasn't Dragonbolt. It's not good.
Alright, let's prove you wrong. Let's look at the Dragonbolt team. Where is it? Gradual.
Don't spoil.
We're getting there.
Alright. I mean, the doc is available for people. But yeah, Mismagius does have Heal Bell. So it's not like Wigglytuff is my only form of getting rid of Will-O-Wisp on Zamazenta.
That's fair.
I do wish Maractus had Aromatherapy, but Maractus is probably not coming to very many games. No. Granted, it's come to 100% of my games so far, so I can't really say that.
I'm not trying to diss your team. I think it's really good. I like it.
I do wish I had more Wish.
Yeah, I wish you had that, but apart from that, Like even just
I can agree with that.
Even just wheezing for like aromatherapy, like wheezing or Weezingella, like I think that just synergizes with it really well. But yeah, it's fine.
Overall, super strong breakers all around though.
Yeah, Zimz Crown's stupid. I really like it's stupid. It's dual stab is just strong enough to beat everything. Like I don't know.
Also, honestly, the defensive typing is pretty great too. I mean, I feel like we have talked enough about my team, but I do like steel fighting as a combination defensively too.
Yeah, I think its only thing is it doesn't really help you check Fairy, but you got Moltres, which is a pretty strong Fairy resist anyway. So. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Gradual.
Speaking of the Dragonbolt team,
how about that one?
Team. I'm not. Yeah. This is a strong team. We've said that a lot.
We have said that a lot, haven't we?
Yeah. So, like, I'll try to talk about the negatives first. I don't think Kecleon's coming to many games, so it's only got one Rocker and Nidoqueen, but that's fine. That's not the worst thing ever. And the default's only really Corviknight. That's not the worst thing ever. But I think that's the main two things that are negative about this team. Everything else is really strong.
I feel like it sort of lacks ways to support Dragonbolt. Like obviously Dragonbolt could come in and but like against like fairies and normals, you have to like bring Nidoqueen in or Blaziken.
Don't disrespect Blaziken, please.
Those.
I love Blaziken. I love it in the draft. I love it in Gen 8. I really do.
Yeah, getting U-turn was pretty great for it.
Yeah, well, also like close combat.
Oh yeah, right.
And Aura Sphere.
One thing that just occurred to me now that is sort of sticking out to me is when you have Dragonbolt on the field and it's getting threatened out by something. Let's say that something is an ice type, you go to Vaporeon because that's your option. Let's say it's a ghost type, you go to Moltres Galar because that's your option. You go up against something with knockoffs. Blaziken, I guess? Mega Gardevoir will crumple.
Moltres Galar.
Corviknight will lose leftovers. Moltres Galar, I guess, yeah. Vaporeon loses leftovers.
Yeah.
But let's say something counters Dragonbolt and Moltres. And I don't have something right off the top of my head, but an ice type move.
Oh,
does
absolutely.
Have super effective damage on both.
Yeah.
Granted, most. Let's say Weavile. Honestly, the Weavile matchup is horrendous. Honestly,
Cool.
Blaziken's the way through.
We've
Got Corv.
love seeing Corv.
But it can leave. It can switch. It'll knock off the lefties and switch. It doesn't need to stay in on Corv. And that kind of stops Corv from being nearly as threatening later. Like, if that happens in the early game...
Ice type, the Ice type matchup looks really rough because it mainly relies on Vaporeon. If it has, like, a strong freeze-dry, you need, like, Blaziken? Something like Specs, Kyurem would be, like, really strong.
Well, to be fair, Specs Kyurem beats everything.
Yeah.
I actually think so. I think defensively it might not support Dragonbolt, but I think offensively it really does. I think the Dragonbolt Gardevoir pairing is really good, and I like that this has every single pivot ever. Bolt, Corv, Vaporeon, Tessarina, Blaziken.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Moltres Geller has U-turn, but I'm not sure, and Raikou. And so that's like 6 or 7 Pokemon. So you can really, really get Nidoqueen and Mega Gardevoir in that serve as very special breakers. Vaporeon is flip turn, I don't know if I said that. Like, it's... I like that aspect of it a lot.
The power level, like we talked about power levels a bit earlier, I feel like compared to some teams with like a new unban, it feels weird saying this, but it feels like Pulse like isn't strong enough, kind
of.
of.
No.
I do disagree with that.
Sacrilege. Sacrilege.
I think Dragonbolt is a fantastic breaker here, but I think it's also a fantastic support mon here because it outspeeds Naganadel. It can burn Zamazenta. It can do a bunch of stuff to those unbans. And while it doesn't outspeed Alakazam, Mega Alakazam, it does after a Dragon Dance. And so it has ways around the unbans. Even if it can't do it for every game, the rest of the team can definitely support that. And Bolt is just a really good Pokemon overall.
Yep. I think if this was a draft in a regular league, I would fight anyone that didn't want to put it at number 1. But I think with the power level increase, it's just a little lower than the top teams. But it's still very good.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm interested in Moltres Galar because I feel like it has a limited enough move pool that you're only really going to see rest Nasty Plot sets. But I feel like there are things you can do with it beyond that. Yeah. And I'm not going to spoil some that I've come up with over the years because I really love its design and I want to make it good.
I have been wrecked by Moltres Galar every time I've fought it, so...
Just don't ever catch someone drafting that in a league that Dynamax is allowed in doubles and stuff, because that thing destroys everything.
No.
VGC, it's a threat.
No, it's ridiculous.
Okay, number 7. Oh, do we want to move
Alright. Sure, let's go ahead.
Number 7, we got...
Alright.
We've got this jerk.
What the? Come on, man. 3 regenerator Pokemon? Did you really
Alright, so I kind of went...
I watched it. Come on, man. What? I watched that happen.
So I kind of got a wheel pick and Landorus and Tapu Koko. And then immediately switched my whole playstyle to like drafting bulk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure did.
Comes across.
I got round 6 Aldino just because I really wanted it. But yeah, no, so again I have like a bunch. I have like a big regenerator core. Rhiannon Close is a goated mon. Nobody can tell me otherwise.
I agree.
Landorus breaks basically everything. And Coco is just great speed control in general.
Yeah, that's a pretty good team.
We don't even need to talk about the fact that Pex, Audino, Reuniclus, not only are they 3 regenerator mons, but Audino is regenerator plus cleric, Toxapex is regenerator plus toxic, and they all cover each other's weaknesses, which is stupid, and I hate it, and I hate looking at this. But that's been my opinion this whole time.
I will say, the problem you might have is that it's not... This team isn't great into ground types and flying types, because you've only got one resist... Well, specifically flying, you've only got Coco to resist flying. But, like, I think with neutral bulk, Toxapex and Ferrothorn can probably take it, so your issue will be stuff like Zapdos will be probably annoying for this team. Like, there are specific flying types with coverage.
But yeah, very probably.
But apart from that, you're pretty good.
The thing about Zapdos, though, is if you have Assault Vest Reuniclus, you just kind of stay in on it. Like, if it's in the rain, that's super great for Zapdos, but you can kind of stall it out, funnily enough, with Reuniclus Audino.
Regenerate.
Yeah, you can literally just keep doing that, and that's so dumb. Yeah. Any time-based strategy won't really work against this team, because it can just regenerate her around.
This is why you always pick Torn and then hit every Hurricane.
Yes.
I love watching the world burn.
Clearly. I mean, Pex and mostly Pex. I hate Toxapex so much.
I've never tried it before, but I think it's definitely going to be interesting to use.
I've also never played with Toxapex, but I also don't want to. I'd probably run Merciless sometimes just to breathe.
It's very funny.
Breathe fresh air.
It is a really funny set. Okay, move on. We'll...
I think get this off my screen.
Yeah. We've got number 6, Burning, which was a little controversial to be this high among the squad. So,
but I think we I think it's understandable.
Why don't we talk about why it's so high?
I think my number one thing is, what is Kieran Black's attack? 170, which is crazy, but its only physical ice move is Icicle Spare, so it's not that good, right? But the thing is, you compare it to regular Kyurem, and it only has 10 less special attack, and the same speed. It does everything Kyurem does, while also having a lot more attack for Outrage, if you so desire it. It's not necessarily going to break through physically, though it certainly can. It will just be Kyurem, but better in most circumstances. And while it can't run Kyurem Dragon Dance sets, it can still run Kyurem Specs sets.
Yeah, it's not able to run speed boosting, so no Dragon Dance or Skill Shot.
Yeah.
Does that apply to Scarf?
No, Scarf's fine. Yeah.
That is insanity. So Kieran Black will punch through, and the rest of the team can kind of take whatever Kieran Black can't deal with and just sort of bulk it with Celesteela, Milotic, Gligar, Umbreon, and then punch through with other breakers like Victini and Mienshao.
I think I've just done it because I'm in the Gen 5 league for this season, and in Gen 5 it's 18 points, and I think it's personally a trap at 18 points. So it's a bit hard to go from that to it being, pretty good in...
It has an ice move now. It's not Freeze Shock, because that doesn't count.
And like Bicycle Spear's probably gonna hurt stuff, but it's a pretty good offensive-defensive team in general, really.
Like Victini with Kyurem, since it's able to... Sometimes Kyurem has a few issues with some bulky steals, and Victini's generally able to deal with that.
Yeah.
Classic Burning Fashion, look at the pivoting. It's got Victini, Milotic, Mienshao, Gligar, Whimsicott, Manectric. They're all right in a row, and it's half the team is just pivot modes.
Also Baton Pass Umbreon.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, Classic Burning here. You just pivot so that you don't lose advantage ever. And Victini will capitalize on that by just shooting out, stab 180 V creates, and that's another mon that can just connect with buttons.
One criticism I had was the hazard and removal.
Yeah.
You're kind of relying on Gligar a lot.
To run both.
I can agree with that.
And that's
which means that sometimes it'll be rough if Kyurem isn't running boots. It usually doesn't want to.
Yeah, that's honestly my main concern with this team and why I'd put it below Gradual, is honestly.
Victini also doesn't like running boots because he'd rather run Scarf, but it can run Assault Vest. I do wish it had more removal. Having no hazards is also kind of brutal for it because it'd like to get rid of sashes for stuff like Victini.
Yeah.
Though by pivoting with the damaging moves, so not Baton Pass, it doesn't really worry about it as much. But there will be times that maybe a sash counter set catches Kyurem unaware. But if Burning keeps his eyes open for that, he'll be fine.
Yeah, I just feel like this team would be a lot better if I feel like boots are gonna have to be run on Kyurem and Victini a lot. I feel like this team would be better if it didn't have to run it on run boots on those two as much as I think it'll have to.
Imagine if Whimsicott got Tailwind and could U-turn into Kyurem Black.
That'd be funny.
Wouldn't that be crazy, guys? Wouldn't that be nuts?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Insane.
Something to look out for.
Okay, number 5. K7.
I think the top 5 is
that's all I gotta say about that.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Plus webs.
Darkrai and Latios are just crazy together.
Yeah. So this team's quite good. It's got some issues with ghost types because it's resistant to Darkrai, and that's not great. But apart
Even then, I feel like it can patch it up.
Yeah, but apart from that, like, it's just really strong. I'm not like the biggest fan of Mega Venusaur, but I think it works here. It's got good webs, it's got a fair few pivots, it's got just...
It breaks fat very easily.
Yeah. I am...
Like Urshifuar, Heatran...
Oh, I'm so into Heatran in this gen. Oh, that Pokemon's insane.
It's very fun.
Yeah.
I'm not excited to play this.
Yeah.
I'm playing in week 2, so I need to look at this team for a while.
Like, just... Darkrai Latios is just such a strong top. I mean, it supports itself really well. Covers itself defensively pretty effectively. Yeah. I don't know what to say.
I just think it's the top 5 are like pretty insane.
Yeah.
Altogether.
And then it's supported well. Urshifu Rapid's pretty decent. I think
if we're going to talk about Burning's hazards, we also need to talk about K Savage's hazards in the mainly Runerigus and then also Heatran.
Heatran will
runs rock
Heatran
fairly easily.
Like, you don't want it to always run rocks, but it can run rocks pretty well. And you know, it'll. I do think like it's definitely not as bad as Burning's. Because it's got 2, and also neither of them have to run Defog. But, yeah, I think it's...
I also noticed that we don't have it listed here, but Rockman does get webs, and that will, again, a web stream has a good offense to go with it. So, Darkrai Latios, and then Scarf, Eruption, Heatran, you know, like...
Be a man, run specs with webs.
Specs Eruption, oh my god.
I do think webs are a little worse in this gen because of boots, and I'm not... What has knockoff on this team? It's like Mega Venusaur. I don't know if Darkrai has it.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
I don't think Darkrai has it.
It might be a bit of an issue of actually getting the boots off of some Pokemon for the webs matchups, but it's still the worst. So what's Darkrai's complex band?
No special attack.
No.
Okay, so no
Master
Bot. Got it.
No charge beam today. Just like Alakazam.
It also gets charge beam. So sad.
Yeah. Let's go to number 4. Kachurin.
Oh my god. So yeah, these top 4 in of themselves are crazy to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's my Blastoise.
It's quite...
Oh my god, Mew Mega Mawile is just such an insane combo to have.
Well, it's a very good team defensively, but then it's not passive at all, and it's got Mega Mawile, so it's just gonna essentially eat the problem Pokemon for it, for like defensive teams, and then...
It's got crazy good offense and like Mega Mawile, Weavile, Como, really good defense like Porygon 2, Steelix, Weezing, and then Mew just does whatever it wants.
Yeah, and it's so versatile. People sleep on Superior too. It doesn't have any power anymore, so it's walled more easily. But it still clicks 130 and then 100 or 260 power moves under like, what is it, like 100, 110 speed? I don't remember that off the top of 113,
Yeah, 113. It's also just got Glare, and Glare's just a broken move.
Oh, that's
Glare,
true.
Taunt, Defog, it's
Leech Seed.
Support, but with Leaf Storm contrary, which, you know, if this team needed more offense, there it is. Like,
it's also got really good hazards.
Clangorous Soul Como, it's got Weavile, Mega Mawile, Mew, Superior. It can set up anywhere, but it doesn't have to. You can be defensive, Porygon 2's defensive, Como can be defensive, though it's more of a rocks thing. And then Serp and Blastoise can also be defensive. This team's very versatile, and I think that's where its biggest strength is.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It takes so much to prep for this.
It's gonna be annoying.
You don't really have a way to like deal with all the offensive threats.
There will be times that someone will think about prepping for something, and they'll go, I think this is more likely. And then Cash will just get them with what they originally thought about. And they'll just have to kind of play around that. Meanwhile, he can kind of prep around whatever he wants.
Alrighty. I think it's a lot harder to talk in depth about the good teams because it's just like these are good and that's it.
Look at how crazy this team is, guys. It's a reaction video essentially.
Crazy
oh my god.
Zimz.
So one thing that I found insane with this team is you've got webs with Galarian Zapdos. And also everything else loves webs, in my opinion.
Yeah. And you've got some
if there were ever a weakness for Necrozma, it would be not being able to set up consistently.
Round 3 Necrozma is criminal, Jesus.
That is silly.
Round 4 Melmetal too.
There's definitely some things here that you look at and go, what?
Yeah.
How did that happen? And that's going to be a recurring theme for these last few, let me tell you.
In terms of weaknesses, it's Volcanion and Sandslash Alola to remove hazards, which is a bit of an issue.
Yeah, I mean, you also got Mega Diancie with Magic Bounce.
Yeah, I guess.
Mega Diancie's coming every week. Yeah, there's no question about
Mega Diancie being the fastest speed can also be a bit annoying, but no, they've got decent scarf options to cover for that, so it's like not the worst.
There's some pretty good scarfs too. Yeah. Necrozma, I've seen it go completely out of control, and I feel like that can happen sometimes here. Especially with the web support, and while it doesn't have, the best removal, it has plenty of Stealth Rock. So it'll get that chip in, and then it can just break everything with Necrozma, Mega Diancie. Zapdos Galar can safely run Band or Life Orb or like a reversal set if you really wanted to. Melmetal won't be as slow, but it still will be because it's Melmetal. And Melmetal can Thunder Wave stuff that comes in on it, or Double Iron Bash to break. Like, this team has plenty of ways to punch through and support punching through teams. Even if, with the removal it has, it might take chip in the process.
Yeah.
Agreed.
It also only has Volcanion and Vikavolt as Rock's weaknesses.
Yeah, that's true. That's neat. And Volcanion's bringing freaking heavy-duty boots every game anyway.
Absolutely.
I mean, Specs also hits crazy hard.
That's true. Number 2, because I gotta go to work soon, I just realised. We've got this team, which is my favourite team of the draft. HCK. It's got a Tornadus Therian on it, which I love, but then it also just has a Urshifu Single Strike and Kyurem. Then it's just got a Rain offense core as well for no reason.
It's got all these things.
Round 4 Kyurem, what?
Yeah, and
I mean, it's not technically like weak to fire, but that patches up whatever weakness it did have to it.
Yeah, and then
absolutely.
Linear Rain, Vileplume, Jolteon, Tornadus Therian,
Scizor.
Scizor removes its weakness in the rain. I love this team. I really do. This is also my favorite.
So great.
Yeah, no.
This thing is going to be a pain to deal with from week 1 to week 9.
Yep. Jax's defense is mostly limited to hazards, but that's fine. That's kind of sort of what it does anyway. Because I don't think you're... I mean, you occasionally bring Clefairy. It does have a bad fairy, but it's like, this is all reaching, because it's just going to hit you and kill you.
The fact that Clefairy being a worse fairy, or like a suboptimal fairy, as the only thing that we're like really picking out about this team, I think that's a lot in and of itself.
I think, like... I love Taunty and Rain, because it's like the only I love Taunty and Rain just, because like, the only thing that really can wall it is just like rock types, because it doesn't love missing Focus Blast, but then it's just like, I got Weather Ball. Fuck you. I don't know. And also not missing the Hurricanes, obviously, but it's just like Weather Ball I think has made it even better in Rain.
The top 4 just hit so hard, and they're all supported by Rain with the exception of Urshifu Single Strike. And with the exception of Urshifu Single Strike, they're all wonderful in the rain.
Yeah.
Like,
it's not like Urshifu Single Strike's bad in the rain either.
Exactly.
Damn, I'll have to punch less hard.
Oh, it's not even really that. It's, oh no, now I'm wicked blowing in the rain. It's like, great, it's inconsequential. It's not weakened by it,
it's still an Urshifu.
It's still Urshifu single strike, and it will still wicked blow through entire teams.
Yep.
But now it also has Rain Tornadus Therian, Scizor with no weaknesses, Kyurem with Weather Ball, and being Kyurem on a team with the other three. Like,
yeah, I love this team.
It's nutty.
It's so great.
Yeah, there's nothing else we can do except turn this into a circle jerk, so let's move to number 1.
I think it's already there.
Oh my god, I think this team is crazy.
I mean, I prefer HCKs, but yeah, it's pretty good. Like, round 5, Gliscor is criminal.
I also prefer HCKs, but I feel like this is a team that's clearly built around its top breakers.
Yeah.
And by having Gliscor and Rotom Wash, in addition to Naganadel and Mega Metacham, it really does patch up whatever weaknesses it had incredibly well.
Speaking of
Plus, with Naganadel, it'll switch in for Rotom Wash. Like, Naganedel's defenses aren't incredible, but they're not bad. But a quad resistance for Rotom Wash's only weakness is fantastic.
Naganadel can run Nasty Plot.
Okay.
Still good. It still gets spikes, I think.
Yeah, no, it's still insane.
It still has spikes. It's still a...
Still Beast Boost Draco. Yeah. Still can run Scarf. Like...
It's gonna steamroll.
I think it's crazy because it's like three strong breakers, like Naganadel, Mega Metacham, Blaziphil, and you can even argue Zarude to some extent. Then it's just like a ton of really good pivots.
Yeah.
Like Rotom Wash, Gliscor, you can run Baton past Diancie, U-turn type Null. And you're not going to have a way to like stop these breakers from coming in.
Well, like Naganadel, I mean, you know, I know this is OU talk, but it was banned from OU because it had like one thing that could ever switch into it, and that was Heatran. And it's just like, because it's just got dual stab and then fire, and then like, you know, Fire Blast, and it's like, what actually switches in on that?
Nothing. Nothing, and nothing stays in. It's plenty fast already.
Yeah.
The only things that like really want to deal with this team in any capacity are things that are faster than it, which is not a lot.
Yeah. And then you've got Mega Metacham and a bunch of like pivot options.
I have had one of my most embarrassing losses at the hands of a Mega Metacham.
No.
That thing,
stupid.
It's not as like hyped up as like Gallade as far as fighting psychic types go, but I'd say it's almost more threatening. And I know that might be an unpopular opinion. It's fine.
I'm sharpening my pitchfork.
Oh, light your torches, everybody.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, no, it's
much else we can.
It almost feels hard talking about the really good teams because it's really hard to find flaws in them.
Yeah.
It has no problem with hazards or hazard removal. It has great pivoting. Cleric wise, I think. Does it have a heal bow user?
Diancie, technically.
Does Diancie get it?
I think so.
Yeah, it does get it.
It's not even.
Right,
it doesn't have a wish.
Yeah, it doesn't
really even feel necessary.
It doesn't need it.
Yeah, this thing. Well, I don't know. It might like wish, but I don't think I'd change anything about the team in order to do that because.
Oh yeah.
We're looking at it like. It's gonna get momentum and it's gonna take damage, but it's probably gonna outpace whatever it's fighting, if we're being real. So, while it might like Wish, I don't think it needs it to be probably one of the best teams here, and, you know, I'm not the only one because here he is, number 1.
Yeah.
This was like an undisputed number 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, for me, it's between this and HCK, but...
If I did any ranking, HCK would be number 1, this would probably be like number 2 or 3 or worst. Like, it's very strong. But, those are the power rankings. I'd stay on, but I have to go to work or else I'll be in trouble, so...
Don't be tired.
Yeah, final goodbyes from everyone.
Oh yeah, good luck. Good luck to all the coaches.
Yeah, have a good season.
I will see you all in playoffs, which I know isn't possible, but you know what? Let's do it.
Goodbye.